Welcome back everybody to part 7 of the ZX14R rebuild series. I know it's been a while, but I'm back now, so let's go ahead and quit wasting time and get started. In the last episode, I finally got the bike to fire up and run correctly. Now in this episode, we're going to try and finish up as much as we can with this bike, because guys, there isn't much left to do and I want to take it for a ride soon. So first things first, I need to fix this clutch. I noticed that it felt kind of squishy, so let's see if we can fix that. I went ahead and I ordered some of these speed bleeders. I've been having trouble bleeding this clutch. I'm not sure why not. I have a friend in here, by the way. What's up, buddy? What are you doing? Get out of my... I've been having trouble bleeding this clutch. It's not been doing good. So what I ordered was these speed bleeders, and I'm gonna try them out and hopefully they work. Speed bleeders are a simple and effective way to make the bleeding process much easier. The way that these work is that inside these little speed bleeders there is a check valve. This check valve will open and allow fluid to flow out, but it will close when air tries to come in. This makes bleeding the clutch a much easier task. And yes, you can use them on brakes as well. Seal and spring for the clutch. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this, pop the seal out, hopefully not get brake fluid all over the place, replace the seal and this spring and put it back together, bleed it, and then hopefully that will finally fix my problem with this clutch not working. As you can see, I have basically nothing here. I did have a little bit more. It's been tough to bleed this thing. Yeah, you heard that right. I am rebuilding the clutch slave. The reason why is that even with the speed bleeders, I was having trouble bleeding the clutch. I discovered that the fluid was getting past the seal, and that's why I'm replacing it. Yeah, you can see, here's some fluid. It smells like brake fluid, so I think it's been leaking out past the seal here, which is causing my issues. Popping the piston out was a bit challenging, but I found that just squeezing the clutch lever and pulling on the cylinder with my finger, I was able to get it to pop out. I'm not sure why I decided to replace the spring too. I think I figured it was one of those while you're in there things. The seal was pretty easy to get out with a pick. I was very careful to remove it without damaging the piston. And the rest of the installation process was pretty straightforward. Okay everybody, so I'm sure you know what's coming next. We're going to go ahead and put some new clothes on the ZX14. Here in these two boxes we have the fairings, which were kindly given to us by Monster Fairings, so I'll be sure to give you guys a review of that later. Alright guys, so all of this is unboxed, and I just want to say it is a little dusty, probably from sitting in a warehouse for a while, but the paint quality itself, this is really, really good. I'm actually super impressed, especially this piece right here. It really is. The quality is, just sitting here looking at it, like the paint job that they did on this, I am very impressed. I think they did a fantastic job with it. It has a good flake. I don't see really any orange peel or anything. It just looks so good, especially this piece though. This piece is so good. Anyway, yeah, so this is the color scheme I decided to go with, and I think it's gonna look really good on the bike. I decided to go with the OEM colors, so we have the flames again, but I think they look pretty good. So anyway, I'm gonna start putting it on.
But before we put the new fairings on, I wanted to fix some odds and ends first. Starting with this rear brake pedal, it was bent pretty badly in the crash. Luckily I was able to source a new one off of eBay for about $10. Installation's pretty easy, although the tiny cotter pin that they used gave me a little bit of a struggle. So now seems like a great time for me to give one final shout out to my gold level patrons for supporting this series. I really cannot thank you guys enough for what you have done to help me for this series, and just as a reminder, every dime I earn from Patreon is going straight back into this bike in the form of mods. Anyway, I'd like to give a huge thanks to Amateur Mike, Mark Sudlow, Charles Raymond Young, Gordon Black, Trace Young, Josh Moore, Roos Squid, Stevensk, Jurgen, Ahmed, Carl Pullman, Josh Rains, Burkhard Rediker, Scrublax, TC303, and Angelus. Thank you all so much for supporting the series.
So I actually have a new taillight. This is from Custom LED. Very good quality taillights, integrated, turn signals, all the good stuff. And I replaced it because the one that I have, as you can see, is yellowing on the bottom. So this will look a lot nicer back there. I think so.
So you guys all warned me that wrenching on this bike would be difficult, and you guys were not kidding. This taillight is a great example of just that. By far the worst part was the screw heads were almost impossible to get to. I ended up using just the tip of a Phillips head and then used a tiny little wrench to turn it in order to loosen and remove the screw. The space down there was just so tight that it was the only way I could do it without removing a ton of other stuff as well. This taillight was such a pain in the butt to install that I didn't even film me installing it because it took so long and I was getting so frustrated. Now that the taillight is in, I'm going to finish up the pair system delete. If you guys remembered back in part 5 where I capped off the hole left from doing the pair delete, I used a little rubber plug. Well, I didn't trust that plug, so I decided to do a more permanent solution. I'm going to take a couple fender washers and use them to seal off the hole, and I'll thread a bolt inside of it with some nuts on the end to keep them in place. This is a much more proper way of plugging up this hole, and it makes me feel a lot better knowing it's done this way.
Alright, so we finally finished the pair block off. I just did the double nut technique and got these big fender washers. That's that side, and there's that side right there. And now that hole is sufficiently plugged. Alright guys, so a little bit of a mod we're going to do right now while the fairings are semi-off. So I got these LED headlights, this is for the high beam and low beam, and I even got these running lights. So we're going to go ahead and put these in, and hopefully we'll see a good improvement to the lighting. This wasn't too expensive. I'll put a link down in the description to where I bought these, and I will also write how much I spent right here. This is a pretty good deal. I think it's a worthwhile mod, and I need to replace one of the headlights anyways, so I figured why not just replace them all. So let's get to it. So here's the old halogen one versus the new LED one. You see they got a little fan right here. Looks pretty similar. It should mount up no problem. All right, so to mount these LEDs is pretty easy. All you do is you come over here, disconnect this clip. Then you go ahead and you turn this, pull the old one out, take the new one, and there's not a ton of room with that intake thing there, but it should fit. There we go. And then seats in like that, reconnect it, and you're done. We're gonna repeat that for the low beam as well. And because it would look weird if we didn't, we do have some running lights here, so I'm gonna show you how to replace those real quick. Okay, so first thing you're gonna do, move this down, get the wire out of the way, disconnect the wire. There's just a little clip on it. Probably gonna be hard to see with my finger in the way, but pretty easy. You just kind of pull it out like that. Then this part is kind of tricky. It's really tight to get in there, and it's really tough. So what I ended up using was some needle nose, and I just rotated it up and then pulled it out. And there we go. Mine was pretty stuck. Mine was stuck pretty good on the other side. This one came out all right. Okay, so now all we're gonna do is pull this old one out. Take our new one. They're LED, so it doesn't matter if you touch it with your fingers. Just kind of push that right in there, and we're good to go. Now we're just gonna go ahead and put that back. Plug her back in. Put this wire back where it belongs. There we go, and we're done. Same thing on the other side, and we'll be good to go. That looks so fresh. Look at that. You got the 6 LED lights right in there. Wow, that looks so good. Looks pretty bright in there too. Low beam, high beam. This is back to the low beams. Looking good. I think that was a well worthwhile mod right there. Take a look behind. They're nice and quiet too, don't hear anything. Very nice. Look at that, the bike looks so good. Look at that, look mean. Oh man, this thing looks mean as hell.
Well, that's going to be it for this episode. I know that took a while for this one to release, and I'm sorry about that, but next episode should be the last episode remaining before the first ride, and I'm super excited about that. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you all have a good one. See you in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.